fucking up, but what you talking, man?
What's up, everybody? Trey Griggs here. It's back. We're back. It's Iron Minds, the first show of the new year. Happy New Year 2025 with Nick Klingensmith and Michael Lombard Trucking. What's up, fellas?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Well, we're 7 days into the new year. You guys have already done some killer stuff. Talk about what you guys have done already in the new year.
Michael, you go first.
Yeah, man, really hit the ground running. You know, it's a January 1st type of thing. I didn't start. What's crazy is, like, I finished off New Year's Eve. Like, I moved a lot. Like, I think I had like 30,000 steps on the day for New Year's Eve. I went to a workout, did a little 6-mile run. And so, like, I used New Year's Day as a little bit of recovery, and then just jumped right back into routine on the 2nd. And then right here this past Sunday, you know, there's ultra marathon runner and a friend of mine, Matt Johnson. He hosted a 25-kilometer, community running event that I jumped in at on Sunday, which is 15 and a half miles to kick off the year. So, I mean, we've just been right.
Ooh,
Michael's out about a marathon in Austin in 2 weeks, and then I'll lock down on go focus on Ironman prep going into
nice.
February 1st.
Nice. Love that, man. Absolutely love that. That's so cool. And the 25K that you did, that was with what's your organization again? And they're raising money for gym memberships for veterans. What's the name of the organization? Valor Fitness?
Yeah, Valor Fit. Matt Johnson. Yeah. He's a sponsored athlete himself, and he recently did a run across Texas where he's raising money for Valor Fit. They help get, access to gym memberships and stuff to veterans. And, that's a lot of what he does. In the picture I shared on Instagram, he's wearing a Valor Fit shirt. And that's kind of what he rallies a lot of his stuff around, is like fitness for veterans.
Nice. Love that, dude. Absolutely love that. And you're in Austin, Texas. It's 28 degrees. I'm in St. Louis. It's 11 degrees outside right now. We have a little snow apocalypse happening this week, about 7 to 12 inches of snow here in St. Louis, Missouri. Nick, you're down in Florida. It's a little chilly up down there as well.
Wind is cutting, man. I feel bad complaining about it to you guys, but I just took the dogs for a little walk, and it was like 44 degrees with a wind chill. I don't know. It was comparative. It was howling.
Yeah, wind chill is not a term that you probably worry about too much, I would imagine.
Wind makes a difference. I mean, 45 degrees without a lot of humidity or wind is a really nice day. When you start adding wind, you start kind of getting that dampness, it can cut right through you. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you're showing 11 degrees and Snowmageddon and everything else out there. So. Yep,
absolutely. Well, good to see you guys. Good to be back. Shout out to my friend Ron Wiley with Truck and Hustle, wearing the Truck and Hustle sweatshirt today. We're going to talk about building and maintaining momentum through healthy habits. And it's interesting when you think about the psychology of habits. It doesn't take that long to create some new healthy habits. And as we talk about that today, if you're watching in the comments, let us know where you're coming from and how cold it is where you live in the United States. We'd love to hear about that as well. But let's talk about healthy habits a little bit. I don't know if this is true. You guys might know this a little more than I do, but I heard that it only takes 21 days of doing something to where your mind starts to see it as a habit. What do you guys know about building healthy habits?
The book, The One Thing, I think says it takes longer than up to 60 days or something. But I mean, it starts with one day. It starts with day one. Right. I say this all the time. One of the main reasons people don't start new good habits is because they see day 40 and they're like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I talk about my own journey, and I say that good habits are a gateway drug, because you know, I don't have my virtual medals up right now, but there's hundreds of them. And I would say it started with one. It started with one race, one workout, one morning. You know, I had no idea that I was going to be learning more about nutrition and fueling. I had no idea that I would ultimately be taking on stretching and mobility. I had no idea that meditation would be part of my life. All these things just started with one small change or one desire to make a change, and then one small action after another.
Yeah, we had a conversation as a family over Christmas break. We were just kind of talking as a family. My daughter's 17, my youngest is 15, my youngest daughter. And we were talking about how, as a family, we haven't done a good job of really creating some really healthy habits. And just started talking about that and talking about the future. We were talking about our grandkids someday, how we want to be able to pick them up and roll around the floor and all these kind of things. And it spurred this conversation. What's been really cool is that something happened, something triggered in my oldest daughter's head, and she's been getting her steps in. She's been coming down and working out every day. She's been kind of changing kind of what she's choosing to eat and those types of things. And I'm just starting to see this transformation one day at a time. She's just stacking days. And it's actually pretty cool to see because, as a parent, it's hard because you want to lead and you want to encourage, but you also don't want to coerce. You don't want to, force them to do it for you, because then it probably isn't going to last in life. It's neat to see her making the choices just one day at a time, Nick, like you're talking about. And those choices will just going to add up over time. It's really cool to see. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, building habits is the key. I mean, healthy habits is the key to success. I was actually just talking to somebody else in the personal training space about this yesterday. Like when it comes to and there's there is a psychology behind it, because when it comes to weight loss, primarily, a lot of people going into the new year, it's really about losing weight. And in our minds, and because of the internet and stuff, we see a lot of advertisement for, do this for 8 weeks, do this, this 8-week juice cleanse, this 21-day fix, et cetera, et cetera. And, you'll see these examples of people who lost, X number of weight in X number of time. And really any sort of fast and any sort of weight loss that's quickly achievable does end up, backfiring. I have anecdotal experience with this. I tried doing a very low carb keto diet in 2017. I dropped 30 pounds relatively quickly, and then I went on vacation. And I mean, it's just those I went and enjoyed myself. And as soon as I came back, I had fallen right off from it, and that weight came back on very quickly. And a sustainable weight loss number is anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds per week. Once you're losing more than 1 to 2 pounds per week, and this varies per person, because if you are extremely at risk, if you are, 400 pounds or, 300 pounds, weight will come off relatively quick if you change certain little habits. But essentially, if you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, it's a sustainable method of losing weight because of how you're doing it, because you're not doing anything super drastic. You're not making any sort of hard changes that are sustainable. Like the key word I always like to use when it comes to habits is sustainable. You can't look at it for, I'm going to do this for 8 weeks, I'm going to lose this 20 pounds for the wedding, and then let that be that. You've got to be thinking about not the next 8 weeks, but the next 50 years.
That's right. Yeah,
when
that's absolutely right.
I lost 40 pounds years ago. It was before I ever heard of Spartan. It was before I ever did any of the running. It was just by managing my macros, and that was it, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a week. And it didn't lose weight for me. It created a new lifestyle. It also changed my relationship with not only just food and exercise, but having sort of a diet in general, because by doing so, I didn't have to suffer to get there. It was just about making better choices and making one better choice at a time.
You don't ever want to give the idea of giving something up. Like when you think about it, are you truly say now you're not doing, you're doing a certain restrictive diet and you're not eating ice cream. What if you have kids 10 years from now? So you're never going to have ice cream with them again. You're never going to have pizza ever. So when you're restricting yourself, but yeah, it's got to be when I tell people I've lost 100 pounds, I say, hey, that was over the course of 6 years. Have 100 pounds just been gone. I didn't lose that in a year. Could I have done it quicker? Probably. But again, when I look at the timeline of how it's worked out, over time, the loss of weight didn't really matter in the goal scheme of things. What became my goals became like more races, more endurance events, where the weight kind of became an arbitrary number at a certain point because of how I felt and how I was performing.
Right. Well, and think about this, healthy habits go well beyond just the physical side of things. I mean, Nick, you talked about you didn't think meditation was going to be a part of your life. I never thought yoga was going to be a part of my life. Never really had done that before. Reading on a regular basis, reading nonfiction material on a regular basis, whether that's some sort of, self-help or leadership or the Bible or whatever it is, like reading as a healthy habit is really valuable as well. So it's more than just the physical side of things. It's really about getting your mind right and changing just the way that you approach life, not viewing screen time so much. Man, I know that's a struggle for me, man. I feel like that's one that's hard for me to put up, is the screen time so much. But like today, we got the snow outside. We're gonna go sledding. My kids are all about that, so we're gonna go spend like an hour and a half today just sledding during the middle of the day, just to go and have fun and do that. But there's a lot of different things that constitute healthy habits beyond just trying to lose weight or trying to become active or whatever it is. It goes well beyond that.
I was saying this yesterday because I'm kind of taking it back to the basics a little bit. I tend to do this. I get big goals towards the end of the year, and then I start sacrificing some of the fundamentals of how I train for it. And so as a 45-year-old guy, I'm like Humpty Dumpty, everything's imbalanced. And I was thinking yesterday, though, that the work that I'm kind of doing right now is a lot of base work, a lot of foundation, a lot of just making sure that I'm mobile and the muscles are working correctly and stuff like that. That same foundational work, I said, hey, what would I need to do if I wanted to be an elite athlete? What would be the work that I would need to do today? The answer is actually the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
If I want to be an elite athlete, I still need to work on those foundational things. If I want to be able to walk around and walk the dogs when I'm 55, I need to be able to do the same thing. I don't need to make it bigger than days.
And I'm a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. A lot of people know that. And Patrick Mahomes suffered an ankle injury like a month ago, and people are like, oh no, he might be out. But he was able to come back really quickly. And the reason is because he does a lot of stretching and exercises to loosen his ankles, to loosen his knees, to loosen his joints. So when some guys are just worrying about like muscle and strength and fitness, he's thinking about flexibility and pliability.
That's Tom Brady, man. That's TB12. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And so he can take those hits and he can recover a lot faster as a result. And it's just those base foundational things, So even if you don't have to do a lot of high impact stuff to make a difference in your foundational health. Like right now, you're doing some lunges. I'm going to do some lunges here in a minute.
With a whopping 10-pound weight.
Right? I'm not even using weight right now because honestly, if you just take your time and do it right, they'll work no matter what. Which is just something that people don't realize. You don't have to do necessarily crazy high impact stuff to actually make an impact on your health and your body.
One perfect stroke, right, Michael?
Exactly. Yeah, when people think about if people think about bodybuilding, if you just like that one specific sport, the most important, you're not having to do the best bodybuilders, they're not lifting weights for longer than 30 or 45 minutes. And it's really a sport that's circumvented around diet more so than the movement. Like if you were trying to grow your muscles to the point of where you're going to, perform on stage for bodybuilding, the lifts you're getting, I'm pretty sure it's Mike Mentzner himself. Like he would be at the gym and just went to failure on the basic foundational movements, bench press, squat, deadlifts, and he would be out of the gym in 30 minutes. And, he was Mr. Universe or whatever, how many accolades he had. So it's you don't need to, there's no reinventing the wheel. When I look at Ironman prep, versus what I do versus the pros, pros are doing the same thing. And the only thing that the pros actually do differently and better than I think regular people is recovery. I think it's called the Nordic method. I mean, there are certain time periods where there are professional athletes who for X number of weeks don't do anything. They just outside of walking, they give their body and nervous system full times to recover while still continuing with their same good, healthy, eating habits and moving their body through walking. They're not just laying in bed, but they recover. Athletes have off seasons. There's things they do to let their body recover, so that way they can then train harder. It's about training harder for longer, not just training harder all the time.
Yeah, I had a friend.
It's an effort.
I had a friend I grew up with, Kevin Jones, back in Kansas City, who at one point in his life, early on, probably in his mid-20s, decided to get into bodybuilding. Not crazy, but just started to get into it. And he was like, man, it's more about what I eat. It's like 90% what I eat versus what I do. And he was just talking about how strict his diet had to be when it came to bodybuilding. And that was really the discipline that he had. It wasn't like he was doing, like you said, those crazy workouts. He was just really intentional about what he was eating, the kind of vegetables he was eating, the kind of meat he was eating, how much he was eating, how often, all that kind of stuff. Like it was very much a science about the eating, not about the workouts.
So it's all about.
That's pretty wild.
I used to look at long run day as ice cream day or nachos day, or I burned 2,000-3,000 calories going for a run. You tell yourself you eat whatever you want, but there actually came a point where I'm like, I get it, it tastes good, but I'm actually hurting myself. Like when I just pour loads of sugar into my body after a long run, like I'm actually hurting some of the effort I did. I'm hurting the recovery. I'm hurting the long intention. I was like, again, it's another habit that after 8 years of kind of doing, now I'm starting to look at, okay, you know what? It's not so much as an indulgence. Like I'm not 6 years old anymore.
Yeah. Or you flip it around and say, listen, I just want a little bit of the taste. So you get one scoop of ice cream and you eat it slowly and just put it on the tongue, because all you're wanting is the taste. Right? You're not really wanting all that ice cream so much. You just want the taste. It's just kind of a comfort thing. So you take one scoop.
Once you start, it wants more.
You take one scoop or half a scoop and you just take a small spoon and have small bites. And then after 10 minutes of just putting a few, small little bites in your mouth, you get the taste, but you don't get all the calories. You don't get all the sugar. You don't feel the afterwards, but you get that little taste. And that's an easy way to transition to it. But just understanding like what do you really want and what do you really want long term, that type of stuff.
It's why I've found that macro tracking is one of the most sustainable habits, because it's not a means to an end. Where when it comes, we're realizing and seeing your portion sizes of things, and just taking, I look at it just like anybody who, if you're trying to do a budget, if you're trying to underwrite a business, if you're trying to save money, you need to find out how much I make, how much I spend. And unfortunately, there's people who disagree with the laws of thermodynamics. I get it, but you need to find out how much you're taking in and how much you're expending in total energy. And then you have a baseline of what you need. And then from there, you begin tracking what you normally eat. You don't change your diet, just go for a week of this is what I eat. You'll find out. And then that's where you can nitpick, like, oh, okay, it looks like I just need to eat less of this and eat less of that. And over time, when that becomes habit, you don't need to track anymore, because you're so accustomed and so used to, and your mind knows how much of something that you necessarily need.
Yeah.
And then you're carrying that with you. Like I've tracked, a couple days this year just to make sure that I'm, dialed on my protein. But for the most part, I'm not tracking that often because it's become routine. And when it comes to the healthy habits, I was more afraid of coming off the road from being OTR, because I didn't know what it was like to be like a civilian again. Like when I was over the road, my habits were so dialed to the point at which, again, I was like heating up chicken breasts in the air fryer, waiting in the fuel island, like to where that was like easy. That was routine to me. Coming off the road and like being home and like having a conventional job, I was like, oh my God, it was a whole new, it was like throwing a wrench in my system, like to where, oh no, what's it going to look like? And now I found out that I still kind of eat the exact same thing I ate when I was over the road, except more eggs.
Yeah. Well, they say like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my wife and I are in the process of moving. I don't know where half my shoes are, half my stuff is. And that little wrench, man, because getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then especially when I was going to work as a W-2 in an office, and I had to leave at a certain minute, everything from the moment I woke up was like by the second. And so now I'm like, where are the socks? Where is the workout stuff? Where's the mat? Where am I going to have room for this? Like, where's the plug? I have no idea. Every day just adds time. But I have running water to do the dishes with now, so we're cool.
Nice. Well, Michael, to go back to what you're talking about with like micro decisions, it's like the common thought is if you don't watch your money, it'll just run away. Like you got to watch your money. You got to track where it is. You got to know what's going on. I think the same thing is true with calories. If you don't just like watch your calories a little bit and watch what you're eating, it piles up quickly throughout the day, And a lot of times you don't even remember the thing you had 6-7 hours ago if you're not really thinking about it. Ooh, look at this. The Freight Sensei's in the house. What's up, Scott? Good morning, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year. Can't wait to see you on Friday.
The biggest dog.
He is, man. Dude, that guy is a dog. I love it. Absolutely love it. Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year.
Yeah, kind of going more into habits. That's why I mean, we talked about it on the show before. It's kind of because I've done 75 hard. I like it. It's a mental wellness program is what 75 hard is. But then it is difficult in the common lifestyle. Sometimes you don't want to be sacrificing sleep. I get it. It does come, it's pretty structured. Obviously there's no wiggle room on deviating off your diet. So like having a cheat meal is something that you can do if you're trying to lose weight. Like you don't need to be so restrictive on it, which is why, I believe that, the 69-day, basically that's what I call the Lombard 69 is a habit. It's a habit building challenge. They're small, little adjusted changes. Instead of focusing too much on calories, you're focusing on protein, which is the most important thing you need. That's what you need more of. That's what everybody needs more of. And once you learn how to get your protein, it'll trickle down into you probably cutting your calories anyways, because you're going to choose more protein-rich foods over, something that it has very low yield of protein. And it's just like those. That's why I created it, because it's just, if you could check off a list of things you do over time, and John Larari's a testimony of it, where he's now in the groove with these habits where his life has changed. So whether it's 1 or 5 like daily tasks, that's a healthy, sustainable way to make. Those are healthy, sustainable ways to start stacking it. There's a book out on it. It's called Atomic Habits. About little changes you can do. It is about stacking those wins over time. So it's the new year, start with protein. Or, for everybody else, I start with daily movement. Or it could be start by switching. If you're a soda drinker, just switch to diet. That's it. Like make one change. Instead of drinking regular Coke, drink diet. Do it for 2 weeks, and you'll probably see the number on the scale change.
Yeah. And I'm feeling, and by the way, John says thank you. He's so grateful that you showed him that. And Scott's closing day today. So Scott, you and Nick are in the same ballpark. He's closing today.
Dude, I'm under contract. The inspection was yesterday. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, those times can be so stressful. And that's the thing too, is like understanding where you're at in life from a stress perspective, not letting that impact you. Because stress will send you to comforts and to other habits. It's almost like, I was a college athlete in basketball, and I remember they always taught us that, like, when you're in stressful situations, you will always revert back to whatever's habit. You always revert back. So that's why Coach was really big on just even the little things, making sure that the strings on our shorts were tucked in, shoes were tied correctly, shirt was tucked in, our feet were in the right position for defense. We do these defensive drills where we had to have our feet in certain positions related to one another so we're not out of balance. And we would spend hours in practice on these little habits that seem kind of like pointless. But the whole point was, man, when you're under stress, you always go back to the habits that you have. And so you just need to work on creating better habits so that when you are in these stressful situations, like closing on a house, whatever it might be, stress around finances or at work or whatever it might be, you don't revert to the bad habits. You're actually reverting back to good habits. Like if your habit is going for a walk every day, then when you get stressed, you'll probably go for a longer walk, which is a great habit, so it's always reverting back to those habits. Scott says it's a double close day. So getting some cash and some keys. I love it, man. Congrats. I hope it works out well for you, dude. So happy for you, man. We're going to meet pictures on Word on the Street. So make sure you take some pictures of the new joint in that regard, which is great. So it's awesome. Hey, I do have to say that Michael Lombard's killing us. He's got 34 watching on X today. I got 3 watch on X today. A couple of analytics that StreamYard gives us. Not enough, but you're crushing it, man. You're killing it with the Lombard audience, man.
Shout out to the boys on Twitter tuning in. I love anybody who jumps on and engages with what we're doing, especially because it's overarching in the mission. Like what myself, you, and Nick are trying to do. I mean, we're really just trying to make the world a little bit better place through movement, because movement has, insurmountably changed my life in so many ways, to where it's put me in so many positions to want to give back and help people. And so anybody who lends their support when it comes to our content, what we're doing, I mean, it just helps the mission overall. So yeah, big shout out to anybody watching live this morning. Hopefully you're moving around.
Hey, the mission is coming to Indianapolis soon, my friends. We got the BCS on April 28th through May 2, and we're going to be, we're going to have a later start date than we've had in the past. And so on Wednesday and Thursday, we're starting at 9. So I think we need to do something at 7 for the people who want to, continue those healthy habits on the road. It's not too early. You guys still have plenty of time to get ready for a 9 o'clock start. And I'm looking forward to that. So go to brokercarriersummit.com, learn more about that. Sign up. Come on, let's see you in Indianapolis. Man, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about Iron Minds, working with you guys. A lot of good stuff happening. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, Broker Carrier Summit's going to be definitely a good time. Sorry, my light died, so I got a little dim around here.
You have a light on your phone out there? Is that what it is typically? Like it's just
I got a ring
phone.
I got a ring light that I put around that I hold with a stick while I'm out here, and I guess maybe the cold actually drained the battery a little bit quicker.
Oh, so it's on battery. It's a ring light on battery. I thought maybe it plugged into your phone, but it's on battery.
Yeah, I should have plugged into my phone. But yeah, Broker Carrier Summit's going to be a good time. I definitely any drivers out there. Me and Justin Martin talked about this in my show the other day. Any of the Mid America Truck Show and Broker Carrier Summit will be game changers, I think, for your business and for your mental health. Like even if you're a company guy, like coming out to those events, those networking events, meeting like-minded people who are going through and doing the same things you are doing. There's such a huge positive benefit to coming out to those events that can be a big game changer. For how you feel, for how you're doing in your job, for making connections in your business. And you might not meet somebody who is going to help you off the rip, but you might meet somebody who knows somebody who can put you in touch with the right people to help you with whatever you're doing.
Well, and, we're going to be at both shows. We're going to be at Matt's, and of course we host the Broker Carrier Summit. They both have a lot of value and unique purposes. I think Matt's is more to connect with other carriers, other drivers, and vendors that can help you out in your business. Broker Carrier Summit is for carriers to meet brokers that can keep you, busy on the road. And think about this. I mean, having good relationships with the right brokers is just like having your own outsourced sales team. It's so powerful to have that, especially if you're a small trucking company. So hope to see you both. I'll be in Louisville for Matt's. We're excited about that. We're going to have a BCS regional event at Matt's, which will be fun. And of course, BCS in Indy in April is going to be a good time, man. So a lot of good stuff. Ooh, there you are. You're back. A little street light action there helping you out.
Yeah, got a little street light help me out. Wish the stars or the moon would help me out.
Hey, speaking of which, we got daylight savings time coming up here in April. Do you guys think we should go permanent daylight savings time or no more changes whatsoever, just to stay on standard time? What's your vote?
Whatever the later one is. Whatever the one that we have in the summer is.
Yes, that's the one. Daylight savings time. Just keep daylight savings forever. Yeah, I tend to agree with that because I like the idea of the sun staying up to like 9:30.
So we're just not the same agrarian society that we used to be. Yes, I mean, food is still like our greatest agricultural export, but the kids don't need to tend the crops before going to school anymore.
The only reason it's a little known fact, the only reason daylight savings time ever existed is it started nationwide in World War I, and it was to conserve energy. It had to do with energy conservation, like of using fuel for light, during the war. So there wasn't even really an agricultural concept to it early on, and that's why some people. But and it was Germany, I believe. It was Europe who did it first. So again, this is like a rule. It's like something we just hung on to for so long. Like we're not in the middle of a world war. in Europe, so we don't need to do we should just do it. Have the sun set at freaking 9:30. I know that's how Spain does it or whatever. Even the East Coast should be on Atlantic time. They should be on that Newfoundland time. We should bump it up even more than just stay with it.
Well, I thought that Benjamin Franklin had something to do with the concept as far back as like the late 1700s. I know he didn't implement it right away, but I heard that he was one of the original, idea guys behind daylight savings time. So, yeah, it's one of those things we've held on to for a little too long, but I'm definitely with you, Nick. I kind of like the summer version better than the winter version. If we have to change, I mean, honestly, we don't know. We've never had the winter version, so I don't know. But I do hate the sun going down at 4:30. That's pretty
Arizona doesn't do anything. Arizona doesn't do anything. Nobody bats an eye. Pretty sure Hawaii doesn't either.
Hawaii doesn't either. And there's actually some individual cities and towns in certain states too.
Yeah, I know, that's right. It's weird because like Arizona, like they get the brunt of all of us changing because it messes up, how they view the entire country. But yeah, internally they love it. They love it. They don't change at all. So I hope we don't change anymore. I'm kind of done with that. Well, and it's one of those things where in the fall when time falls back, it's kind of like nice because you get an extra hour of sleep if you take advantage of it. And in the spring you lose an hour of sleep and your body has to adjust. It'd be nice to not have to even deal with that. I would actually enjoy not having to think about that. The fortunate thing is now we run on clocks that are digital that change automatically. So at least we don't have to change clocks. I got to change my oven and my microwave, and that's about it.
Oh no, man! My car will tell you the wrong time for at least 6 months of the year.
Well, that's true. My two of our cars do that. One of them follows whatever your phone is. Like it takes off of that. Nice. But the other two are still manual in that regard, so it's all good. All right, boys. Hey, listen, our 30 minutes are up today. It's always good to see you guys. Remember, it's all about forming great habits, but it's also about forming a community. Remember, Iron Minds is on here because as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So make sure you find your community, find your tribe. We got a group on LinkedIn if you want to hop on there and be a part of the group there as well. You can also pick up your Iron Minds merch at ironminds.io if you want to get a water bottle or something else, just to remind yourself about what you're working for, what you're trying to accomplish. In the meantime, we will see you guys next week, January 14th, right here as well. Remember, it's the new year. Form those healthy habits. Get your community. Love you guys. We'll see you guys soon, all right? Peace out.
Yeah.
Peace.